Joe Biden's historic legacy. Transformative actions as a lame duck president. President Joe Biden's recent flurry of executive actions, judicial appointments, and policy initiatives cements his legacy as one of the most impactful presidents in modern history. Despite facing criticism and being labeled a lame duck, Biden's ability to leverage the final weeks of his term demonstrates strategic governance and moral leadership. His recent moves highlight bold decisions that reshape federal policy, protect democratic values, and solidify his place in history. Clemency and pardons, a display of mercy and justice reform. One of Biden's most striking actions involves his unprecedented use of clemency powers. He issued 1,400 commutations, setting free nonviolent offenders, while keeping their convictions intact to facilitate reintegration into society. This move underscores Biden's commitment to criminal justice reform and offers a path toward rehabilitation for thousands of Americans. In addition to commutations, Biden granted 37 pardons, erasing criminal records for a select group, including his son, Hunter Biden. These actions reflect the president's emphasis on fairness, second chances, and the compassionate application of justice. Biden also utilized clemency powers to address the death penalty. In a landmark decision, he commuted the sentences of 37 inmates on federal death row, sparing their lives while ensuring they remain incarcerated for life without parole. This step aligns with Biden's long-standing opposition to the death penalty and emphasizes the moral values that define his presidency. Notably, 3 individuals, Dylan Roof, Charleston church shooter, Robert Bowers, Pittsburgh synagogue shooter, and Jakar Tsarnaev, Boston Marathon bomber, remain on death row due to the egregious nature of their crimes, reflecting a balance between mercy and accountability. In stark contrast, former President Donald Trump prioritized expanding the use of the federal death penalty, executing 16 inmates during his term. Trump's push to increase capital punishment stands in opposition to Biden's humane and progressive approach, highlighting the ideological divide between the two administrations. Judicial appointments, reshaping the federal bench. Biden has left an indelible mark on the federal judiciary with the confirmation of approximately 245 judges at every level, district, appellate, and Supreme Court. Beyond the numbers, Biden's appointments reflect a historic shift in diversity and professional backgrounds. Over 60 of his confirmed judges are Black, compared to only 12 under Trump. Additionally, 60% of Biden's appointees are women, far surpassing the 24% during Trump's tenure. Biden prioritized candidates with experience in civil rights litigation, public defense, and advocacy for marginalized communities. These judges, many of whom are women and minorities, bring perspectives shaped by lived experiences, ensuring a more equitable judicial system. However, Biden recently vetoed the Judges Act, which proposed adding 65 new federal judgeships to alleviate court backlogs. While the act had bipartisan support in the Senate, Biden rejected it due to Republican efforts to delay its passage until Trump could potentially benefit from the appointments. By vetoing the act, Biden preserved judicial balance and avoided giving Republicans an unfair advantage. Debt relief and student loan forgiveness. Biden continued his efforts to provide economic relief through student debt forgiveness, approving $4 billion in relief for 55,000 borrowers, including frontline workers. While courts have blocked broader debt forgiveness programs, Biden remains committed to targeted measures that alleviate financial burdens. Recognizing legal challenges, Biden strategically ended certain debt relief programs that faced judicial opposition. This decision prevents wasted resources on initiatives likely to be overturned while focusing on achievable reforms. Legislative maneuvering and policy safeguards. Biden's deep understanding of congressional processes, honed over 40 years in the Senate, has enabled him to outmaneuver opponents and safeguard key policies. Anticipating Republican efforts to dismantle progressive legislation, Biden withdrew proposals that could be hijacked by the incoming GOP majority House. This preemptive strategy protects initiatives like transgender rights and voting protections from partisan attacks. economic investments, and infrastructure expansion. In his final weeks, Biden accelerated the implementation of key economic policies, securing billions in funding to solidify his legislative accomplishments. $10 billion for infrastructure projects to modernize roads, bridges, and public transportation. $39 billion for semiconductor and chip manufacturing to bolster U.S. technological competitiveness. $369 billion in clean energy subsidies to advance renewable energy and combat climate change. $7 billion in aid to Ukraine, reinforcing America's commitment to global alliances and democracy. These strategic disbursements ensure that Biden's economic agenda remains impactful even after his presidency. Protecting federal agencies and workforce. Biden implemented administrative measures to fortify federal departments, issuing raises and promotions to employees to resist efforts by future administrations to dismantle government infrastructure. By empowering the federal workforce, Biden safeguarded institutional stability against potential disruptions. The broader impact: democracy versus autocracy. Biden's actions reflect a broader struggle between democratic values and authoritarian tendencies. While Biden prioritizes justice, equality, and governance rooted in moral principles, Trump's rhetoric suggests a return to punitive measures and centralized control. Trump has pledged to expand the death penalty, target immigrants, and roll back civil rights protections. Biden's proactive measures aim to Trump-proof democracy by cementing reforms and distributing resources that cannot be easily reversed. Biden's Mount Rushmore moment. Biden's recent flurry of executive actions, judicial appointments, and policy implementations solidifies his reputation as a transformative leader. His ability to wield presidential powers effectively, even as a so-called lame duck, underscores his resilience and commitment to democratic principles. Whether historians ultimately place Biden among the greatest presidents remains to be seen. However, his moral clarity, legislative accomplishments, and strategic foresight have undoubtedly left an indelible mark on American governance.